The first day of the NFL draft has come and went. And with it went a lot of good players. Some that I was hoping would fall. One in particular, Colton Miller, but he didn't fall. He actually went earlier than I thought. And, the Texans did right by staying put. Had the Texans traded up, it would have been a stupid decision because, one, it would have either created bigger holes on a team or more holes on the team, or two, it would have put us in the same situation the following draft. There was no reason for the Texans to trade up into the first round, and I'm glad they didn't. So, good job to the Texans. They took the day off pretty much, even though they were still in the war room or draft room, whatever you want to call it. They were still there. I don't know what they were doing, but they were still out there. But there's still some good players left. And if you ask me if the Texans should trade up to get one of these players, absolutely. Hell yeah, they should go up and get some of these players. There's quite a few players I have in mind, like just right off the bat, that they could trade up for. Unfortunately, I don't see any offensive tackle worth trading up for. I really don't. Because I know some people are going to say Connor Williams from Texas, but the guy is not good. I would not touch the guy with a 10-foot pole. I mean, the guy is just not going to be a good player. There's, of course, Orlando Brown. There's Brian O'Neill. But I wouldn't necessarily trade up for any of them. O'Neill, he's good, but I don't think he's worth trading up for. Connor Williams sucks. Orlando Brown, he's not good either. Yes, there's some guards. I know some people are going to want to trade up for Will Hernandez. I'm not a big fan of his. There's also James Daniels, who is actually pretty interesting. The center from Iowa. A first-round prospect fell in the second round. I wouldn't trade up for him because he's an interior offensive lineman. I feel like we need more tackles. An intriguing tackle that I might trade up a little bit. Like I wouldn't go all the way up to the front of the second round for him is Tyrell Crosby. I might trade up for him just a little bit, but if we're taking a tackle, I'd rather stay put and pick up Alex Kappa, who I think is probably better than the remaining tackles. I'm not a big fan of the remaining tackles. And I know a lot of people have been mocking Joseph Noteboom to us. Yeah, not a big fan of him either. So as of right now, offensive tackle is looking pretty weak. All these offensive tackles are pretty much just development guys. Guys that aren't really going to start day one, or guys that you shouldn't really start day one. But then when you take a look at the corners, my God, there's a lot of corners still available, and that's really good for the Texans because other than offensive tackle, corner is the Texans' biggest need. And if you take a look at the corners, I see three that I would instantly trade up for. Not to 33 obviously, but maybe around the 40 range. You got Josh Jackson, corner out of Iowa. I do not know how this guy fell. This guy is probably the second best corner in the draft behind Denzel Ward. I have no idea how he's still there. This guy is really good. Day one starter. He could literally go in there day one and he could play him on number one receivers. That's how good this guy is. If we were to trade up for him, I'd be really happy. This guy would be a day one starter. Imagine Josh Jackson, Aaron Colvin, Tyrann Mathieu. Our secondary would be instantly fixed with this guy. And then we also got Isaiah Oliver, who I'm also a huge fan of. I don't really see him as a guy that could really go there and be number one corner day one. Maybe he could, but I could see him like transitioning into the number one corner, like eventually down the line, maybe year 2, maybe late year 1. But I wouldn't mind trading up for Isaiah Oliver. There's also Carlton Davis out of Auburn, who again, like Oliver, like it, but not as much as Oliver. I think Oliver's better. I wouldn't mind trading up for Carlton Davis, but if I do trade up for Carlton Davis, it better be like in the later 40 range to the 50 range. And there's also Dante Jackson out of LSU, but I'm not really a big fan of him, honestly. He's just a fast guy. Run support, he's not that good. A little bit smaller than I'd actually like. So, yeah, not a big fan of him. Or, you know, since there's like a bunch of corners, we could stay put and take a corner with our first, third round pick. One of those corners could be Anthony Averett out of Alabama, who I think could be really good for us. Or Duke Dawson out of Florida, who I also think could be really good for us. As for safeties, I really only see 2 safeties that I would really trade up for. And that's Ronnie Harrison out of Bama and Justin Reed out of Stanford. I think like both these guys could start day 1 for us. But I really don't see the Texans trading up for a safety. I hope they wouldn't. And tight ends. I don't know. Like, I'm iffy about tight ends. I don't know if I would trade up for one, but there is 3 tight ends still on the board that should obviously still be on the board, honestly. But I wouldn't mind trading up for them. That's Dallas Goedert out of South Dakota State. Probably the best tight end on the board. I mean, his NFL comparison is Zach Ertz, and I'm a huge Zach Ertz fan, so I wouldn't mind us picking him up. And we also got Mike Gesicki still on the board. I wouldn't trade up for Mike Gesicki unless it's like late 50 range, honestly, in the draft or second round. And Mark Andrews out of Oklahoma. I'd probably stay put for Mark Andrews. And there's also Ian Thomas, who I'd also stay put for. We'd probably be able to take him later in the 3rd round. So yeah, those are pretty much the players that are available, honestly. And okay, see, that's what I would do. I guess like those players I would trade up for, and the players I wouldn't touch. Now, what do I think the Texans will do? Honestly, man, I think the Texans are gonna trade up and get Orlando Brown or Connor Williams. I really think they're gonna pull that off. I really hope they don't, but it just seems like a Texans move. They need an offensive tackle. These guys aren't really all that good. I can see the Texans getting desperate and trading up for them, especially if Cleveland ends up taking one of the tackles at 33. So, yeah. So that's pretty much all I really have for you guys today. I'll probably come back tonight with another video on my reactions on the day 2 picks of the Texans, or my thoughts on them. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.